my grim grinning ghosts and ghouls. Let's see here. Blah. I hate this. I don't like the way this is. But anyway, um, how are you all doing today? It's April 1st, 2022. Uh, April Fool's Day. This isn't a this isn't a joke um, stream. I rarely ever go live to begin with this mug of mine. But I'm venturing into it. I'm trying to get myself used to it a little more. So when I do get a camera and microphone and all that stuff, we can do some streams. Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my mental health. Uh, those of you who I've talked to briefly, like my Black Craft cult fam. Um, yesterday yesterday was a hard day for me. Really hard. Um, I was chasing meds. I was chasing a refund on a hotel room that overbooked and canceled my reservation, and a few other things. Um, and my my fiance, God love her, uh, came back with dinner yesterday evening. She brought me Taco Bell, and like I just broke down. Like I was sobbing into her arms, and I couldn't stop it. And I apologized. I know I wasn't supposed to apologize, but I did anyway because, well, I'm an apologist, uh, which isn't always the best thing either. Also, yeah, sorry about the teeth. That's another thing I'm working on. And I don't have my glasses because they broke today. Anyway, enough said. So my mental health took a real hit yesterday. Um, a week ago, I was released from Rolling Hills Psychiatric Hospital in Franklin, Tennessee, uh, to the care of my fiance, because they had to let me go somewhere, and I didn't agree to their thing. So let's go back, um, all the way back to 24 days ago. Let's see. No, 17 days ago. 17 days ago, I checked I called mobile crisis, said I wasn't doing well. Um, I didn't want to go the whole run to the ER nonsense. Here's a tip: if you are having suicidal thoughts, if you are planning, even even in the beginning stages of planning your suicide, um, call mental health. Call for mental health help. If it's an emergency, those of you who have found your friend or your loved one in dire need of medical help, call the suicide hotline. Those of you who are dealing with suicidal thoughts and maybe at the brink, um, call mobile crisis. Call. There are lots of numbers to call. The reason I say this is for your benefit, as I have as I have come to know the system a little bit over the last, well, since August. The minute you call the suicide hotline, you're and if you tell them you have plans, and if you're calling them, be honest about stuff. Uh, if you are in the stage where you are requiring people to come save you, definitely call it. They will send more than likely they will send police to make sure that you're safe and to keep you safe while they get the mobile crisis unit to you. Um, Me, a lot of times I'm at the point where I've made a plan, but I'm not at the point where I'm on my way to commit the plan. And when I'm at that point, I know that I'm in danger, but I also know I don't need police arriving, and maybe I just need to talk to somebody at that moment in time, um, instead of getting the police involved and being sent away. Because the minute you call suicide hotline, you will be put in psychiatric care for a bit. Usually about 10 days. Just depends on how you're doing. If you need it, call it. If you're looking for somebody to talk to, if you're looking to admit yourself into a psychiatric facility because you need help with your meds, um, you need a safe space to go for a little bit, call mobile crisis, um, or call the nearest psychiatric facility and see if they have a bed open and if you can come in. That's the route I normally go at this point in time. Um, because going to the ER and having all your clothes taken, and being put in those paper pants and paper shirt, and being put in that room, and then you're usually there for. Every time I've been there for almost a day, in that little tiny room in the ER. Um, it begins to feel humiliating, at least for me. Um, I feel humiliated at that point, and you shouldn't feel that way. You're stronger than most people at that point. You've reached out for help, or someone that has looked after you to make sure that you had the help. You are loved, either by yourself or by someone else when you're at that point. But I don't know. I don't always necessarily need that. I sometimes just need somebody to talk to for a bit, or I do need to go in, but I don't necessarily need to be stripped of everything and with no ability to be like, hey, I'm good now. I would like to go home, or let's work on putting me someplace where I'll be safe. But anyway, I'm diverging, and I'll be glad to talk to anybody about any of this. Really, like, if you got questions, I'll give you my experiences. But anyway, I called Mobile Crisis because I didn't want police to arrive. I didn't want to be stuck in the ER. I just wanted to find a way to get up to Trust Point Hospital, which is in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I've been there twice since November. Um, they know me. They know my story. They know my medical health stuff, and being on this journey and continuing to dive deeper into what my psychoses are, what I'm doing, and being honest with myself and others about it, um, is huge part of the journey. You're going to have to get to that point. Um, I've made it my entire life at this point in time, just trying to um, take. I need to get back in decent mental health. I have been in terrible mental health for 20 plus years at this point, not doing anything about it, and not doing anything about it for so long, it tends to exacerbate issues and create new ones. So young ones with mental health issues, please own them and get help so that you can live a better life than running from them all the time. Again, I sidetracked. So I called Mobile Crisis, and I was like, "Listen, I want to admit myself into Trust Point Hospital, please. I don't have a way to get there, but if you could get me there, I would greatly appreciate it. All my belongings are in 3 trash bags. I've been homeless since I've been homeless for over a year now, living in hotels and friends' places and whatnot. It's not a life. It's terrible. Um, there's no real. I feel no real safety at night. I feel no real rest unless I know I'm going to be in the room for. It has to be at least a week before I can like breathe and feel comfortable enough to let let everything let all my guard down and breathe into it and relax. I have to be here at least a week. I a couple weeks is what's best, and I can start breathing into it. Um, but lately, it's been nightly, or every couple nights, or every few nights, and sometimes it's every few nights with plan to do longer. But things just don't go through the way you need them to at that moment. Money doesn't fall where it needs to fall, and then you have to check out, and then you're just sitting outside a hotel with all your stuff trying to figure out what you're going to do because the money that was supposed to be there isn't there. Things like that. Um, but anyway, my fiance takes really good care of me. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. Uh, so I called the mobile crisis and I said I wanted to admit myself into Trust Point. Mobile Crisis did the whole mobile crisis thing that they do when you call suicide prevention hotline, and they want to talk to you in the hospital. Except we did it while I was sitting outside the hotel, waiting for um, someone to show up. They did the whole interview to, you know, figure out where I was in my head and see if they needed to see what they needed to do. Unfortunately, their only discourse was to send the police. So the police came and picked me up and took me to the hospital, where I handed them all my stuff and got put in that got put in a little put in the paper clothes and stuck on a gurney for 24 hours. Um, the people watching over me were very nice. They were very kind. Uh, I got to watch TV, which was very nice. Helped to distract my mind from all the other stuff going on in the ER. It was really busy. It was really crazy that day. Um, I felt bad for being in there and taking up a whole cot because I didn't need to be there. I just needed a ride to the mobile health unit, and I would have been fine. That's all I needed. But the only way they could get me there is through this process. Our mental health system is broken still. It's still a thing that needs to be worked on. But I'm hoping awareness and the awareness I can bring to it will help it. If I can help one person or help anything positively, I'm thankful for all of it. I'll take it every day if I can help someone. So I was there for 24 hours, and then they called Trust Point, but Trust Point was booked solid, which happens. So they sent me to Rolling Hills instead. The next my ride was to be there the following morning, so my ride got there. It was the paddy wagon for the local police, the local sheriff's thing. They came in with handcuffs and leg cuffs. I was completely embarrassed and mortified when this officer walked in with all this. Um, Mortified. It was, don't do that to people. They're already having a hard enough time with their mental health and then you're gonna come in and handcuff them and treat them like they're breaking the law. Funny joke is he first went to the legs, couldn't cuff my legs. I'm a thick boy. I'm a big boy. 355, 6'4". Um, he couldn't put the cuffs around my legs, so I hold out my hands. He couldn't put the cuffs on my wrists either. I'm like, you don't have to do this, dude. like, I'm good. I'll walk. You're good. So he was thankful that I didn't give him any trouble. I don't. I guess maybe it happens, but treat it on a per case scenario. Don't just assume. Got in the paddy wagon, went to Rolling Hills. Rolling Hills was different than Trust Point, as most psychiatric hospitals will have different rules. This one didn't let you have the remote for the TV in the day room when you weren't doing psychotherapy. They had to control the remote, and I get it. It's fine. Then people aren't fighting over it. If people are going to fight over it, and believe me, there would have been fighting over it in this unit, which is crazy to me. But like, I don't care if anybody wants to watch anything, really. But nobody wanted to watch anything, so I was just like, hey, I'll pick movies off Disney Plus. They won't be harmful to anybody's mental health. But but the mental health place kept putting the news on in the morning. That shit's depressing as fuck, man. You got the Ukraine war. Um, there was the tornadoes down in Texas, and like, you want me to wake up at 7 a.m. and then watch that for 2 hours and hope that I'm able to improve my mental health status in that place? I was like, that was my suggestion. Leave it. I'm like, don't allow the news to be on your TV. Don't let the nurses put the news on. Don't do that. Trust Point does not allow news at all. They'll let you have the remote because there are enough people watching you to know that if you're watching something you shouldn't be watching, then they can tell you not to watch that. Um, don't put the news on in a psychiatric unit. You don't know what people's triggers are, and I'm going to bet at least everybody has a trigger on the news at some point. Uh, the food was good. I liked the food a lot. It was better than Trust Point. Um, the groups were great. I did all the groups. If you're going, when you go to a psychiatric unit, participate in the psychotherapy, group therapy. Um, be open, be honest, if you can, as much as you can. Even if you don't want to talk, go to the group anyway and listen to other people. And maybe you'll hear your story or something similar, and they can help you. The biggest benefit I have found in going to mental health hospitals is talking amongst the patients of the mental health hospital. There is more benefit in what happens between group therapy than what happens in group therapy. Group therapy brings it out, but after group therapy, when everybody's sitting around and chit chatting, um, and sharing their experiences with one another, that is by far the most beneficial thing you can get in a psychiatric unit, bar none. Um, it's great. Rolling Hills, we did not have that. People kept they left the doors open to your room, so people kept to themselves or stayed in their room or slunked off to some other corner. Uh, there wasn't a lot of talking in Rolling Hills amongst uh, the patients, and that was unfortunate. It was my worst time being in a psychiatric hospital. I did not enjoy it being there at all. I was actually getting worse the longer I was there. I was there for 10 days, and by the end of it, I was miserable. The only thing that kept me going was my meds. So when I went in, I didn't have a home, and they were going to put me in a group home. That was the plan. Put me in a group home and let me get back on my feet. Uh, my social worker there was going to help me get me in a group home. Generations of Tennessee, it was was wanting to talk to me. They're interested in putting me into their group homes. When they did the assessment over the phone, we talked about where I'd be going. I asked them where I would be because I wanted to be within relative ease of my fiance being able to come see me. Because my fiance is the only person I have in this world right now. It's just me and her. All my family I don't really talk to, and they all live up north. And my daughter, she lives in Florida, and I don't want to bother her with my nonsense. She's got her own life to live, and I can just the only thing I really try and do is steer her in directions that if I see her going in a direction that I've gone, try and steer her in a better way. Let her know that I've already done that and it doesn't work. So anyway, we had talked. They were going to put me in Cookeville. They said Cookeville. They told me Cookeville, Tennessee, which is just, I don't know. It's an offshoot. It's a bit of ways from Nashville, but not too far. It would have been less than an hour for my fiance to come see me from where she was. It was okay to go to Cookeville. I was okay with going to Cookeville. The plan was to go to Cookeville.